Hi, folks. Welcome to Never on the Back Foot. In today's WPL Not Morning Show, aptly titled by me there, we have, crazy Nikhil Popat joining us. I mean, like the kind of season we have had in the WPL so far, I think everyone entering this RCB versus DC match thought, yeah, RCB is going to romp home, with another win in their bag. But clearly that wasn't the case, right? I'm sure, a lot of RCB fans are upset. Like, how did this happen? But I think it's just one of those days, where a lot of things went south, and due credit to, Delhi Capitals for the way they sort of went about their business, right? In this live stream, of course, we will be, sort of unpacking what happened in the match, how RCB lost, their grip after the power play. Don't worry, this is not an RCB fan show. This is obviously us, being as objective as possible to, understand just what happened there and sort of what this, win even means for Delhi, right? They shot up right to second position in that table itself. So first things first, Nikhil, how you're doing today? Really nice to see you back on Never on the Back Foot, and just your thoughts on the game itself.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much, Neha. Hope things are going well at your end. Of course, good to see good, knowledgeable content being done by good people, and because that's the time of the year we have to help each other out. Because who else? What else we here for? So glad to be here. And WPL, it's been a very weird feeling. I don't know how many people get it. It's been kind of on and off, on and off. Maybe not helped by the scheduling. I don't think this was the best of the scheduling in terms of how the teams are playing each other and how the venues and the breaks are almost like at the wrong time. But again, those are things for a later discussion. But otherwise, I think RCB did one thing really well, that they sealed one spot, which meant that now all of us poor UP fans, people who can be counted on their hands, can then start using our calculators to figure out. So maybe we can get a few calculators from you because you guys have had it for years. So good in that way, that one win can take you from last to second. I think that's very. It may not be good for the tournament in terms of how are so many teams on same points, but it's good for the general audience that, oh wow, एक ही spot sealed है qualifier के लिए, and again that team also needs one win to make it to the final. So there is enough in them for RCB as well to not take it lightly. That no, we need that extra win so that we get into the final, and others also have a chance, and they know that every run matters in terms of margin of defeat as well. So I think that is something that Delhi would be very happy with that last game, that you win one, you want to win another. That's what UP also figured when they did. And just the kind of year, UP will not win anything, and then they'll go and beat Mumbai twice. It is just Meg Lanning doing Meg Lanning things.
I mean, aptly summed there, Nikhil. It's been that sort of a season, right? I mean, RCB winning so many matches altogether, UP pulling off the absolute unthinkable. But again, just sort of coming back to this match and, dissecting other major talking points. Like, what do you just make of the team combinations, right? I, for one, believe that RCB might, would have wanted to experiment and, sort of come in with some other players, considering they already sealed their place in the playoffs. And even for Delhi, right, they had to, sort of figure out their playing 11 based on the conditions. Like, what do you just make of the team combinations and the playing 11s fielded by both the teams?
Yeah, to me, I think RCB played their best team, best combination in terms of. I felt it was very brave of them to put Radha at 5, and for that to work is a completely different thing. But that is something that came off against which team I can't remember. But it's just the fact that you can get away by doing that, and that just tells you sometimes the opposition can also be sleeping. Because if you see, Gigi did not bowl Tanuja Kanwar or Rajeshwari Gaikwad against those two. And it is absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, just because Richa is there, you would not bowl the left-arm spinner. So I think that is something that has played a part in teams taking a bit lightly. But the best thing that happened was Sayali Satghare getting into the tournament and she taking so many wickets, replacing Ellis Perry. I think that is something, it's just the stroke of genius that it had to happen. Because I think that is what has meant that Prema doesn't get a game. Because I was very disappointed that she was not even getting to bowl in the previous games. So it almost felt like once Pooja is fit, it will be a straight swap that Pooja could come in for Prema. But then Arundhati, of course, got fit. And for her to replace Prema told me that, okay, I think the new ball bowling is sorted with Lauren Bell and Sayali. And Sayali again did her job to the best of her capabilities, getting a couple of wickets. So I think RCB, in my opinion, played their best 11. I don't agree with their order. I still feel Georgia Wall and Smriti would make a much better opening pair, because if you then have a middle order of Richa, Grace, Harris, and Nadine, that is scary. And of course, maybe in Vadodara the scary is 160, 180, but it is still scary that any one of them can come off and they can pull the plug away from you. As for DC, I think Shinil Henry was always going to come in. I have no problem with Lucy Hamilton, but surely Arana King had to play when they missed out on Henry, because two off spinners 2026, it's a bridge too far for me. And again, see, you can use them, but it's been a tournament where I'm just scratching my head that wow, Dipti is bowling, not bowling out. Sobna Asha is not bowling out, but Shika Pandey is bowling. So I think teams have had some preconceived notions and they've not let them go. But DC will for now take the win, and most importantly take winning the toss, because I think toss is playing a massive role this edition.
In fact, Nikhil, my next pointer was going to be just about the conditions and the pitch, right, in Vadodara. Like, it's just come under so much scrutiny considering the kind of thrillers we witnessed at Navi Mumbai, and right here at Vadodara, we see how much of a role that, the pitch is playing, the toss itself, right? Like, again, just what have you made of it and thoughts on the same?
It's very hard. I have often been a very first innings batting sympathizer. That so you can clearly see how much teams struggle if they don't start well in the power play in the first innings. You're almost too far behind in the game, and you don't even know how this will play out. Like, if you go by the quotes that Smriti gave last night, that she felt in the game that they played before the wicket was behaving differently. Yesterday it was spongy bounce. Now, when we are batting first, you cannot be thinking of so many factors. You can't be tomorrow on the toss. Yesterday on the toss itself, Jemmy was like, there should be dew, so the ball should skid on to the bat. And then Smithy at the same time after 2 minutes goes, the weather is such that I don't think dew will come. So it tells you so much that cricket is so condition dependent that you cannot predict. So I just feel somewhere down the line, cricket as a whole sport, not just women's cricket in particular, but I think as a whole sport needs to figure out a way, because, like you mentioned, in DY Patil, you could come back into the game on the basis of a couple of good overs. Here, I feel it is very difficult to do that even for a batting side, because you could get 14 of 1 over, but the conditions are such that if the bowler gets it right, you are very likely to lose a wicket, just like what happened with Nadine de Klerk yesterday. It felt like, okay, chalo, now Nadine may just farm strike and she could get some score, but then first slower ball goes in the air and then your goose is gone out of the window. So uh, I hope it is something that's looked into, because I don't mind low scoring wickets, but the low score also has to be even for both sides. I want to see a scrap. I think everybody loves a scrap. What nobody loves is a one-sided game. I think Delhi have done their bit to take games close, and they even lost one as a charity to Gujarat, but they want to avoid that going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And completely agree with you there, Nikhil, that we definitely deserve to see a scrap, right? I mean, a match where it's like low scores, both teams absolutely battling it out. And not just one team, sort of struggling, batting first, and the second team coming in and just, completing the run chase like so easily, right? Because let's just look at RCB batting first. Obviously, off to a very rocky start, they lost Grace Harris for a very sluggish, right? 9 of 13. Smriti Mandhana and Georgia Wall tried their level best. At the end of the power play, they were what, 39 for 1. And when you just look at the phase-wise distribution, they managed what, another 70 runs, right, in that final 14 overs. Like, again, if you just had to put it in perspective, like, where do you think the innings like stalled decisively? RCB does heavily depend on Grace to give that start, but then again, overtly dependent, not great signs.
I think it is also a lot to do with the nerves in terms of the first batting nerves, because you saw even Smithy was having her time. She was 5 of 13, if I'm not wrong, at one point of time. So she was also taking time, and she played a lot of good shots. So it wasn't that she was having a struggle, but it was that she was just finding the fielders too often, and which meant Grace Harris, they could not even rotate strike much. So which meant that both of them were just like almost stuck uh, at at their ends. And I think DC were very smart to not give much width, and that's where I think we'll get to her in a while in terms of the best Delhi bowler for me so far in this season. But I think once you start like that and you have Georgia Wall coming in, you saw it was a struggle for Georgia Wall, and it's been a struggle for Georgia Wall in a couple of games now, where you've seen her that yes, she's eventually found a way at the at the fag end, but starting on these decks are any which way tricky, which is why I feel they should just do the swap, put Georgia Wall up top, make her open with Smriti, helps both Smriti and Georgia Wall get the power play. I think she could do the role what Pratika did for Smriti, and it could open up Smriti as well. So I think that's where RCB may. I will not fault if they don't go that route, but there's a clear pattern there that teams can tie down Grace Harris, and if there is movement, I don't fault Grace Harris. Her role is not that. Her role is to just come in and smash runs. So that's where I feel there is room for RCB to change if they want to do that. So I think that's where the game really set up for DC Nice, that once they had that choke, it meant, because if the best batters are not able to break free, I'm not going to expect Gautami and the others to really just get the innings flowing just like that.
Yeah, very true. And hopefully RCB has taken, lessons from the past few games where Grace Harris hasn't really gotten off to that sort of a great start, that, they probably need to mix up that opening duo a little bit and have Georgia Wall come in. But let's also, sort of spotlight Smriti Mandhana and her knock, right? She scored, 38 of just 34. And she was, RCB's top scorer there. Again, did you think like DC just got their matchups right against her, because it was probably not one of her most fluent knocks, and especially once the field spread, you could see right that struggle come in. So how would you sort of contextualize Smriti's knock from yesterday?
Yeah, I think she was able to recover well, as you said. After that tough start, she got a few. She got an over where she got a couple of boundaries, and she was like, "Chalo, now I am into the game." But the slowness of the wicket while batting first always ensured that she could not time the ball, and she could not hit the gaps that easily. So I felt DC should have gotten Minu Money earlier, or even Snare. And I think it just feels. Sorry, Smriti. Absolutely enjoy her batting, but it's almost a given that you have to throw in an off spinner very rarely. I understand Marizanne Kapp, but nobody is asking you to not bowl Marizanne Kapp. You can maybe take an over of Shannon Henry and then give that over to the offie very, very early, because again, Grace, see, it works very differently in women's cricket when you see the help from the wicket. So that's where I felt they could have really used Snare Rana also a bit more, but eventually Minumeni came in and she got them two very big wickets. So I think that helped off, and that catch also was very good to get Smriti off, because had that not happened, I'm very sure Smriti would have been able to accelerate really well, because that is how you've seen the entire tournament go for most of the batters. Whether it is Sheffield has got starts every game, which has not been able to convert. Same thing happened yesterday. So, but the moment you get a start, whether it is Jamie, whether it is Laura or anybody, Divine, look at Sophie Divine against UP. You get a start, you get 35, 40 balls in, and I know they sound a lot, but that's just how the conditions have been. So I think Delhi were very shrewd in terms of not giving too much to Smriti to work with. And then the pressure just worked out in a way that Smriti tried to go at one and she just found the fielder.
Yeah, I think it was one of those knocks, right, that she probably not fondly remember, even though she was the top scorer. And just looking at the rest of RCB's batting card as well, it really cuts a sorry figure, right? Now that the batters being able to sort of capitalize on their starts, just, do what they were sort of expected to do. And that's again where I'd like to talk about Marizanne Kapp, right? Her spell, again, 2 for 17, went at just 4.25 and over. She's looking like an absolute beast on these surfaces, as much as she admits that, she doesn't like these pitches. But how important, was her double impact, right, of removing Grace Harris early, and even Georgia Wall, right, later on, as RCB was just trying to rebuild, and she's just been fantastic, right, especially in this second half.
They're absolutely massive, and see, it's also a place where Jemmy learned. In terms of the previous game, she held back Marizanne Kapp, and that is something that I really loved about the WPL, that players are so happy to say that yeah, they are human and they are going to make mistakes, and they are happy to own up to it. It's very easy to just brush it under the carpet that this was our plan and we wanted to stick to it. No, I got it wrong last game. This time I wanted to ensure that I get Marizanne Kapp and I look to take wickets. So I think I was very happy for Jamie in that sense, because first time captain, and she needs the help from Marizanne Kapp, because that is what seniors are in the team for. And once you lose Sutherland, you needed your pacers to come in. I think one Indian pacer has already, in my opinion, outperformed everybody. We'll get to her, but Marizanne Kapp doing that was very, very important because you get Grace Harris, it means the pressure is on Smriti. Immediately the pressure is on Smriti because now they know okay, boundaries, risk, they are not going to be taken by anybody else. It was the job of Grace to give them that. So bowling first, I think it was a perfect recipe. Bowl first, use that swing. I think Marizan also made that point about the balls not swinging much because so far we would have already seen one Marizan Cap 4 where, Sayali Satghare and Lauren Bell as much did that to Delhi by having them 10 for 5 out. Should have been 10 for 5, it wasn't to be. But that is the kind of impact that you want. The impact that Lauren Bell has had for RCB while bowling first, that's the impact you're looking for Marizan Cap to create. And so far, we haven't seen her do with the bat. I think we'll see that in the new future. But to begin with, in terms of power play, I think that was spot on. And Jemmy will hope that Marizan can continue to grow. And if not, give her those wickets, just go for 14, 15 runs in her 3 overs. Because then the fourth over will always come at the good time. But those 3 overs will mean there is a lot of pressure on the other opponents. And at this point of time, I don't think any opening pair is doing well. You look at any team, no opening pair across any team is doing well. You can say Lizelle Lee is getting starts, but then that is happening with Meg as well. That is happening with Sophie as well. Now there is a change there. You have Beth Mooney hasn't turned up. So this has not been a WPL that we know, but which is where all of these things happening are very important. That seniors have to step up, and Marizanne Kapp was very important for Delhi in that sense.
Absolutely. I think Marizanne Kapp being in the kind of form that she's in not just augurs well for Delhi Capitals, as they look, at the rest of the season too, right? It would mean a lot that she
Yeah.
continues throwing in performances like this. And I'm sure, Nikhil, you're very excited to look at this player too, Nandini Sharma, right? Wow. I mean, an uncapped player bowling so exceptionally well. Her celebrations have not just, captured our attentions, but her bowling, my God, each and every match, turning up, taking those wickets. This particular match too, right? In her 4 over spell, took 3 crucial wickets, economical at 6.5. And she took, even big wickets, right? Arundhati Reddy, Shriyanka
Yeah.
Patil, and Sayali Satghare. All three batters have the capability of, being pinch hitters and can, sort of
Yeah.
be a little dangerous. And doing this in the death overs specifically, right? I think this is something that's great, not just for DC, but India too. Or am I just, thinking way too ahead again here?
No, we've had people from Delhi do well for Delhi but not play for India. So no other hearts to be lost there, hopefully. But see, Nandini doing well with the new ball, I expect that. Okay, chalo. But to me, the highlight has been the back of the hand slower one, and I cannot get past that visuals of how accurate she's been, and that is something that I keep speaking about almost to everybody that I speak to. Okay, I can't recall the last Indian bowler to have such a good back of the hand slower one in terms of how accurately just look at the seam, the way it comes down, it is almost perfect. And for her, yes, she at times will drift on the pads, but that is human nature. But she's adding something that we have not seen in the circuit for a while. We've had good cutters and everything else, but for Nandini to come in and fill that gap of Sutherland so well, I think they've not missed Sutherland with the ball. They have definitely missed Sutherland with the bat, but with the ball, I think Nandini has done more than enough, and that she's been bowling out more often as compared to her other senior counterparts in terms of, yes, different departments, spinners, but that also tells you the confidence that they have on her and her repaying the faith by, as you said, economical bowling. She's not leaking runs. So, very, very happy with Nandini. And again, sometimes when we don't see something very often, you just want to latch on to that. So, I know there might be other players who may be bowling this better, but to me, she's caught my eye. And I'm like, let's just hope that she continues to grow because this is what WPL gives you. Last year, it gave you Sri Charni. This year, you could see Nandini Sharma may be fast type. So, and already Bharati Fulmali is already there in the T20 squad. So, that is what you want to see. Talent finally getting the opportunity and them doing well.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't say that better, Nikhil, because Nandini Sharma has clearly given, I think, not just a lot of us fans, but even selectors, right, reasons to consider her.
Yeah,
Kranti Gaut and Kashmi Gautam have not probably had the best of the seasons with the ball, but
yeah,
then, seeing another Indian pacer sort of throw their hat in the ring is always great signs, right? So fingers crossed that she continues to step up like this.
yeah,
And just, sort of concluding this segment on Delhi's bowling itself to kind of, ensure that RCB surrendered, right, meekly at 109. I think it would be very fair to say, right? It was that sort of a complete bowling performance. Chanel Henry stepped up with wickets. You had Sri Charni also take one. Minu Mani
yeah.
also take a couple, right? So again, Nikhil, if you had to sort of look at Delhi's bowling attack, we've spoken about certain key characters and chief architects, right, who ensured this happened to RCB. But the bowling attack itself coming good is great signs for Jemimah, the captain, and DC.
Yeah, yeah, very good signs. And even more importantly, as you said, there are two youngsters in there in terms of Sri Charni and Nandini. For them to bowl those 8 overs, and they gave what? They gave just 40 runs in 8 overs for 4 wickets. 40 for 4 in 8 overs is as good as you can get. And you can say, of course, she got the wickets at the back end, but the point is she got them. We've seen in the past where teams have scored runs at the back end and then they have caused them. And this season, rather otherwise scored a 50. So I think we should just not talk about anybody scoring runs and not being perked out by it, because that's where it is difficult for a captain when you can get into a fix. Let me put it that way. Sri Chani had a great first season, but second seasons are always tougher. It happened with Sefali, it's happened with so many other Indian players. You saw what's happening with Mumbai with their options. So for Sri Chani to continue to hold her own, I think they will get a lot of confidence. And given that conditions are likely to remain like this, I think DC will take a lot of heart. I still am not sure about how things will pan out if they lose the toss, because I think that's a trouble for everybody, because I don't think anybody has cracked the best way to bat unless you have divine intervention from Sophie.
Yeah, good one there, Nikhil. Honestly, it has been that sort of conditions being laid out for teams, and not every
Yeah,
team is lucky to have Sophie Devine. But even
yeah,
just looking at the fact that RCB lost those 5 wickets with just 16 runs, we've spoken about how
yeah,
great and exemplary Delhi's bowling attack was. But between overs 12.5 and 16.3, you could really see, right, that phase was a lot about how Delhi was really just enforcing the pressure as much as they can, and you could see that sort
yeah.
of ensured that RCB had a lot of poor shot selection, and the execution from DC was just next level, right? Again, would you just owe it to how RCB could not apply themselves a lot, or was DC just better on that day with their bowling options and how they just went about their craft?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of both, and that's where I go back to the point about opening with Georgia Wall, because you see when Smriti got out at 9.2, he was 62 odd, and when Gautami got out, or Georgia Wall got out 11.4, 69. So they've just scored 7 runs in almost 2.2 overs. You T20 while batting first, it's a very fickle format. You have to just try and put the pressure back once you've lost the wicket even more. And sometimes you don't have to do that by hitting boundaries. But the fact of the matter is, it combined with two things. You had DC also bowling well, and Jemmy taking that bold call that I'm going for cup. Let me go for Marizanne. Let me get her, because I need Georgia Wall there. And that's where an experienced head comes in. Because if you have a set Georgia Wall who's opening, she'll bat differently. What did not help and what hasn't helped, even UP at that time, is similar type of batters getting stuck at one point of time. So that's what happened with Gautami also trying to get used to that wicket. And Georgia Wall had just come in. So that doesn't help you in terms of get your timings right. And sometimes rotation of strike, it may seem very cliche, but you see, that is what is happening. That is what is happening. For you to score just 7 runs in those 2 overs, it is telling you people are getting stuck in terms of not being able to break free. So I think RCB will take a few lessons, but in my opinion, the best lesson is to just put Wall up top, because what it will ensure is if one of these two are batting deeper, whether it is Smriti or Georgia, they'll be far more set. And Gautami is, for all the first uncapped player to hit a 50, yes, but still inexperienced. So I would not want to put it on her, and neither I would put it on Georgia Wall, because she hasn't played in these conditions too often. So I think that's where I feel the shuffling has to happen. And otherwise, I think Richa, because I don't think Richa would have taken a risk, and there was no point of Richa taking a risk when she came in. So Richa had to hold herself back. And even then, I don't think she got out to a risky shot. She just got out to a good ball where she just wanted to drive, and she found points. So I think it was a case of I wouldn't want to say RCB taking it lightly. It is just of getting stuck on a very tricky deck, and Delhi also just showing up at the right time to just catch them off guard. So a combination of factors, but I see the solution right there for RCB to just do it and be better.
At least how I look at it, Nikhil, is that the fact that this loss has come at this stage in the tournament is definitely
Yeah,
good, right? Because at some point the
yeah,
law of averages had to catch up. Imagine if RCB had an
yeah.
unbeaten run to say the finals, and these glaring
Yes.
mistakes came, biting
No
them back.
90 never, no 90 never mentioned anyway. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I didn't want to bring it up, but then like you see the point, right? RCB wouldn't want these problems to affect them in that, final or like in any playoff match too. But
Right.
let's talk about Delhi's run chase itself, right? It was always going to be a walk in the park, right? 110 runs to seal of 20 overs. As much as we have raved about RCB's bowling, it was going to be a difficult one to defend. And to their credit, Delhi had a great start. Shefali Verma doing her stuff, just off to a blazing start. And then Sayali Satghare strikes. She gets two massive wickets again in the power play. It's like, it's just become a walk in the park for her, right? To get those wickets up front early and, set things up for RCB so beautifully. Again, Nikhil, just your observations of what do you think has been working so well for her, right? The way she's just mixing her line and length and being able to challenge batters too just speaks volumes, right? Of the kind of value she's adding to RCB's bowling right now.
Oh, 100%. And that is so good to see. See, for years we've seen WPL being dominated by Sophie, Deepthi, Radha, Saika. No, I know Saika may not have always taken wickets, but that's what people went to. Let's go to spin. Let's go to spin. Let's get the job done. But this year it hasn't been that. It's been Lauren Bell. It's been Nandini. It's been Sayali Satghare. Who's ever since his comeback, it's almost he's made it look like, bro, this is so easy. Why are you guys not able to do it? Just bowl stump to stump. And to me, the wicket of Shefali Verma was a highlight because both Richa, of course, for a good correct and stump, but for you to make Shefali feel lose her balance at the crease on a ball, you would feel just tuck, single, chill. But that she was able to beat her in the air and get her out also tells you how much skill is involved and good planning. I think that's what Jamie also said in terms of how most teams are being very smart that just bowl stump to stump. There is low bounce on the wicket. Let's try and make the most of it, not lose our lines. So I think that is something I think Sahil has also done well. And of course, at times you will stray a bit here and there. That's what happened with Nandini as well. But overall, I don't think RCB could have found a better partner for Lauren Bell because one is getting the ball to come in, other is trying to get it to hold or go away. So that is just a perfect combination. You're not going to be able to line it up well. So I think that is where it is really helping. Uh, Catching though is something, of course, we'll get to, but otherwise, no complaints from Sayali completely.
Yeah, I mean, we as RCB fans or even just as onlookers can't really complain, right? She's been just bowling so
Yeah,
beautifully, and seeing her bowl in tandem with Lauren Bell in that power play is just stuff of dreams. Again, the hope is that
yeah,
they can continue to sort of go in the right direction as well. And I think despite the early setback too, right? Delhi was just what 38 for two after the 6 overs. They were very much on course, chase this total
yeah.
down. Again, how crucial do you think was that partnership between Laura Wolvaardt and Jemimah Rodrigues? Again, being the cornerstones for every successful run chase for Delhi Capitals, sort of ensure that they were on the right side of the result.
The reason why I smiled is from the last game, something has been standing up for me. That is Jamie's thumbs up. If you see, every time she's running, she's going here and there, she falls and it's like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Are you good? Are you good? She did that with Marizanne Kapp as well yesterday. See, it's a very young captain, and you can see the captaincy is playing a part on how she thinks about the game and how she's reacting. And that loss would have got to her. 7 from 6, Laura Wolford has just taken 29 in that one game, and then you can't close the game out. These are the games you want to be seen closing out. So, in that sense, I felt very happy. Yes, she may not be. It was a friendly wicket eventually when Radha got. When Smriti caught Jemmy of Radha, it felt like, oh, this is a Dosti reunion, something that will be chatted about off the field in terms of teas. But it helped that Laura was there at the other end. But I have a slight weird problem there that what I discussed about Gautami and Georgia was, I feel that is also happening with Jamie and Laura. Because I feel both of them, in my opinion, take their time and then play the big shot. Because you saw that with Laura Fullerwood as well, that eventually 42 of 38, yes. But there was a point where you felt they still need a good over, because you've seen, things just tighten up and you lose your way. So I think Jemmy did get those boundaries from time to time, but you will see a lot of dot balls. So, which is where I feel one of these two, and I don't see Laura being the one to take the risk. So, to me, it feels like Jamie might be the one who's like, I'll be the lead once you settle, because once Laura settles, I don't think there is anybody who can beat her at acceleration. But if Desi are batting first, that is the only area. And I know this is absolutely nitpicking, but I feel this is a one spot where they could get caught off guard, because that is eventually what happened in that game that they lost against GG as well. That both of them just waited for the other to go, and that is something that I hope they don't do going forward. Yes, yesterday the target helped, which meant that they had enough time, but there isn't much to follow. And Marizanne Kapp hasn't had the knock that we usually associate with her. So you want that things to, just be on the top of the game, so that Nikki Prasad, Shinel Henry, Sneh Nana, they can all bat. Minu Mani can also bat. It's not a problem. But the point is, you just want to stay ahead of the game so that the pressure doesn't get to the younger lower order. So, uh, job well done for both Jamie and Laura. But I just feel there is that area for them to just keep an eye on. Not a worry, but keep an eye on it.
And Nikhil, here's probably when I want to pause and just ask you, like, how do you see the batting order sort of play out for Delhi Capitals, right? Right now, you see the team management being quite pleased, with having the likes of Shefali Verma and Lizelle Lee open. Laura Wolvaardt takes that number 3 position, the
Yeah.
position she has batted for even in, in the WPL for Adelaide
Yeah.
Strikers. Jenny comes in and the rest of the batting order sort of fits in there. Because I think even when you look at last night's match, it was Laura Wolfard's like very composed knock, right? Again, 42 of
Yeah.
just 38. Like she was holding her end, and
Yeah.
even though wickets were falling around her, she was still able to ensure that they could get through the runs, and the tempo was always going to be there. So, how would you again
Yeah.
look at Laura's role in that batting attack? Do you suspect they would want to mix things up in the fag end of the season, or do you think they're going to just stick with what's there right now?
No, I don't see them changing, and it is fair also for them to think that way. But as I said, my only problem with that is the conditions. So I was just taking score over by over. So at the end of the 11 over mark, both Jamie and Laura were 24 of 25. So you see, both of them are going at the same rate, and again, 73, you are chasing 110, you can do that. But what I'm looking at is the process where neither of them is being able to take it ahead. So and of course, Jemmy was dropped. Was a tough catch for Gautami to take at mid wicket, but drop catches पे अपन बाद में आएंगे. I don't see the role changing for Laura, because I feel with Marizanne not performing, she is the glue that has to hold. So how I look at this is, they are more than happy to have two aggressive openers, and to be fair to them, they both haven't clicked in one game. That game is still pending. So Shefali came good against RCB, but Lizelle came good in another game. There will be a game where both of them will fire. So they need one of them to fire almost every other game, which is fair. A fair expectation of your experienced openers. So that is aggressive batting done. Then you have a good anchor, accelerating anchor in Laura Wolfart. For the people left, I don't think there is anything else that they can do in terms of. It's a very Jai Mata Di idea to say Nikki Prasad ko char pe dal do, but I wouldn't want to do that. Especially, see, if it was a flatter conditions, maybe yes. But given that you want people to get set, and you know how Laura and Jimmy like to get a few balls in before they go big. So it makes it even more important for you to give them that time. And 3, I feel, is a perfect spot for Laura there. Maybe you can put Jamie up top if you feel there's a good start, and you want, as we discussed, Jamie to be the aggressor. Or there could be an idea or a day where you send in Shin and Henry to just go out there and be that disruptor. So I think it just has to be. I don't see the top 6 changing much. I think they will be what they are, unless of course you want to send a snare Rana somewhere down the line. Okay, we are getting stuck. Just go out there and hit us 3 boundaries in the next 2 hours. Then I'm fair. Otherwise, I think they are very set in the way they've set their shop now.
And a quick follow up here, Nikhil, for what you just said. I completely agree with some of the points you mentioned, but again, just pausing a little bit on the Nikki Prasad point itself, right? I really think like she's being criminally underutilized by that
Ah, fair, fair.
Delhi Capitals setup itself, right? Like again, where do you see her, fit in the scheme of things? Like you did, float in a left field choice of having her come in probably at 4, but where she's coming in right now at that 6, 7, sometimes even 8, it just doesn't make sense, right? Her strike rates, again, when you look at the domestic side of things, hasn't even touched or gone past that 100 mark. So again, if you're
Yeah,
like sort of pegging her to be a finisher, it's probably not the most ideal thing.
yeah.
Again, where do you see her fit in that puzzle, or should DC probably just drop her and just include an extra bowling option? Like how do you see that play out for them?
They would have loved to have an extra bowling option, but I don't know who they can go to. Firstly, WPL has been marred with so many untimely injuries that uh, what do you do? There is no way out in terms of replacements coming in and then being game ready. So I relate to your point about Nikki Prasad, and again the Jai Mata Di aspect is you have to be very sure of ये condition में if you lose too early, let's send Nikki. So in my opinion, I would have sent Nikki Prasad in that collapse because there I would have felt that I would not sell Marizanne Kapp right now. Hold her back. Send Nikki Prasad there. Ask her to build a stand because that is where I feel she's good at. She'll be able to rotate strike. She'll give you those ones and twos, not get too stuck. But the problem with that in Vadodara is conditions are anyway tougher. You are seeing better skilled batters being able to not break free. And that could really cause a lot of problem for Delhi because if Nikki goes in early and then she gets stuck, we are not too receptive to retired outs. We've seen that already in this season. So, as unfortunate as it is, I think it's just a lesson there for Nikki that hold on to your spot. You will get your chances because the top six are set in a way that there isn't any room. There's no way you will put Jemmy at 5 or 6. So there is no way out other than Nikki just waiting at 6 and hoping that someday maybe they lose a very early wicket, first over wicket. Out you go, Nikki. Go out there, and then you hold an end up while the other end attacks. So that is also something that they can do.
Yeah, and I know this is not probably the like topic of our discussion itself, Nikhil. But just what have you made of the retired out discourse? Right now we see it spill on to women's cricket a lot. We've seen this happen a lot in men's cricket. In fact, the BBL that's happening right now. You're
Yeah.
someone who follows like global cricket, not just Indian cricket,
Yeah.
and that's a topic for another day. But it's happening in WPL and teams using it the way they are. Yeah, your thoughts on that?
Now I'm all in for it, but one condition only: you have to take the players in full confidence because till the time that doesn't happen, it will never look good. It will look very sheepish. It will look very, oh, dude, why me? And you never want that feeling to come up. So for what happened, I felt it was perfectly fine for a UP to retire out Hurlin there because she was not striking it well. You are a set batter. You cannot be scoring 7 runs of the last 10 balls or 20 odd runs of the last 23, 24 balls. You are a set batter. We've just discussed why it is important for the set batter to keep on accelerating. And the problem in India is we judge by results. We don't judge by process. Hurry, see, Chloe John came out and she got it. See, is acha to? But that is not how it works. You do not know how it will work out. How did it work out for Fulmali and Ayushi Soni? She was retired. Fulmali came in. She found a way to get those hits. She found a way. She found a way. Invariably, you try and back the process that yes, we'll have to identify and get the players into the right mindset that you don't have to be fearful of being retired out, and it is there should be no stigma attached to it. It is you're always eventually playing for the team, and that is how it should always be. In terms of uh, that, do not worry if I'm not being able to score. Sometimes you might be saying, you might just say by yourself that I think I should retire out. Just pass a message to the dressing room, and you'll get a fair idea that okay or no, I think we should wait because you see, Deandra Doughton was dropped after one game, after one 32-run over. Cricket is very harsh, but I was very happy for Hurlin in the very next game that she showed that intent against Mumbai. And again, I'm not judging by results, but had that process not happened, it may not have stung her. It may not have meant that she was more motivated the next day. So eventually, you have to know as a coach what works for your player and what doesn't work for your player. talk with them, get them into confidence, and then you go about it. So again, more than happy to it, happy to see it happen regularly and may it continue to happen and not have any stigma attached to it, where we should not be saying, oh, she's an Indian player. But if she's an Indian player, I also then can question her for the last dismissal that she had, in terms of the very ball that she got of early in the last match to Renuka Thakur. The mid-on fielder was just pushed back to long on. You're an Indian pro, you should be able to pick these things out, and then you should not attack in that area. So then, if you want to be harsh, you can be harsh in either direction. So I would say let everybody be on the same page, be a good collective unit. And the good thing that Abhishek Nair also mentioned that I want to say it out loud is they are far more receptive about it, and that is a very good thing to have and a very good thing to hear, that the WPL sides are far more receptive to such ideas, and that is good. That is how you want the cricket to be taken forward.
Yeah, Nikhil, completely agree with you on that. And I remember just seeing someone, I don't know, tweet about this or just post, on X that as much as you have the whole retired out concept for batters itself, do you think it's time to have that even for bowlers, right?
Yeah,
Some of them have such off days, and the WPL has seen multiple instances of, bowlers just getting tonked around for runs, but, not being able to get themselves off the attack unless they have like a visible physical injury and they have to walk out of the field, right? If it's there for the batters, do you think it's fair to have it for the bowlers too?
this is the conversation I was waiting to have someday. Because, see, I understand the problem with cricket is it is always looked as a, and again, sorry to break it to the audience like that, but it is always supposed to be looked like batting is a tougher job, bowling is an easy job. कि अरे एक ही बॉल मिलता है, कभी भी आउट हो सकता है, तो सारा रूल उनके फेवर में भर दो. दैट इज नॉट हाउ इट शुड बी वर्किंग. You give the batter so much room to err and still be there, but that is not the same for bowlers. So I think going forward also for retired outs, I think it should start being counting as a wicket to the bowler, because well, somebody bowled better for you to play those dot balls and for you to get that. So it should start reflecting in the scorecard as well. Or what's the point of it? So uh, maybe mini over is what we would have in gully cricket. Maybe this is too early to be pitched in international cricket, but I would definitely like to see something of this sorts, because it's not a wrong thing, right? If you see teams are playing with 8 batters, teams are also playing with 8 bowlers. If you do feel somebody is not bowling well, I would not want to bowl him out. Just 2 balls are done. Yeah, fair. You got those 2 runs. You get those 2 balls. Whatever you've bowled in that, count it. But the next 4 balls will be bowled by somebody else. Be okay with it. I am more than happy to disrupt cricket. More than happy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen enough innovations and disruptions,
Yeah,
in cricket that this one wouldn't
exactly.
entirely take us by
Yeah,
surprise. So hopefully, there is some foresight and thinking, right, for our bowlers too, who are, sometimes subjected to some very harsh atrocities by batters.
yeah.
And, quickly pivoting back to our conversation, to always love having these, slightly off tangent conversations with Nikhil. But Avinash goes on to say, I think this is slightly earlier, that RCB kya kiya really disappointed. DC ko to harana tha yaar. But DC is one team, right? You wouldn't really want to write
Yeah.
them off. They can really, sort of stake their claim and make it to the playoffs. So yeah, write them off at your own peril, right?
And again, not just for DC in that sense, but I think RCB should be fine. I mean, you already have a queue, so the next queue should not come. Okay, queue, it's okay, it's okay. You had such a good run where you won a game from the Nadine Declerk special. How good was that? It could have gone the other way as well if catches were taken. So I think we should just take it as it comes, and it is good for the tournament, because otherwise, if one team is already decided for the top spot, then just 2 and 3 to decide maza nahi aayega. So let's wait. And the good thing is everybody is on the same point, so it will just add to the masala for the tournament.
Yeah, because you don't want one team, just running away with top honors and the rest of
Yeah,
them, sort of just fending for themselves. And I agree with Shiv Prasad here too that, as RCB fans, we're okay
yeah,
with this loss in the league stage. Every team, has got to have a bad day. So let's hope we'll bounce back stronger. It's just about that. So
yeah.
hopefully, they've taken the lessons from this game and it happens. And Avinash also says, yeah, I was waiting for your show in the morning with tea. Now it's tea time again. Well, Avinash, sorry, certain logistical difficulties meant, we had to have the show in the evening. And we're also a little sad that, we don't have a WPL match in the evening. So we're hoping, this show gives you your fix
Yeah,
of WPL action in some shape, form, capacity.
yeah.
And, we'll continue coming in the morning itself. Another comment from him is, I'm not thinking for RCB, I'm saying for UP Warriors fan, RCB ne kya kiya. So, Nikhil, I hope you're very happy that there's another UP Warriors fan in the house who's,
Ah,
yeah, giving you company
nice,
here.
nice. But yeah, but bhai, this season is to God. Like you offer the first one to the Almighty, because whatever I've seen of UP, it feels like a team that is taking its time to gel together, and that is something that can happen. Uh, and even more so when you have a complete overhaul, a new captain, a new coach, a change of strategies. Deepti Sharma not bowling out in a UP game, I would have never thought that day would come, especially on a deck that was assisting spin. So it just, uh, cricket in 2026 is such that sometimes some of the mistakes that teams have done in terms of main landing, getting bowling orders weird, or things not right, it's not something that you can easily just accept. हाँ होता है, नहीं होता है, मेरी लाइनिंग है वो. She's far too greater in our minds to feel that it can happen. But uh, I'll give them this season. I still think it all is not lost. They can always sneak in, because see, if RCB go on to win on the title from here, it will be too mainstream, too normal. So क्या पता, for once, I don't know how to say it, but for once, it's good to see Mumbai being where I want them to be, because I have always felt this, that they've been saved by their all-rounders too often. They are so dependent on their all-rounders that they have never built enough new Indian players. You look at their squad, and Harman is their best batter. Of course, Indian contingent we are talking about. The keeper is missing. Amajad Kaur has been fine, but where is the bowling? How you are not using. You played Kranti Reddy, but you didn't give her the ball. Vashish is playing, but you can hardly give her the ball. Samskriti Gupta is bowling 1 over. So it just tells you that you can be the best in the business, but still take time to get used to a new setup. So thank you, Mumbai, for taking it off. But you never know. As he said for DC, I can never write Mumbai off, given that we know how they find their way, and RCB are going to play Mumbai next. So that will be a good game for RCB to just nail it. Maybe for Mumbai. If Mumbai do it, so then good for the tournament. So we are win-win both sides.
Yeah, I think definitely not complaining in that regard. And Avinash also goes on to add that I want to see a new champion this time, and that should not be DC. Ooh, interesting one there. Probably,
Oh,
his affiliation for UP Warriors coming through. But I think it
oh
would be
yeah.
fair to say, right, Delhi has come to the final three times. They haven't, been able to find themselves on the right side of the result. If anything, it should
Yeah.
probably be, for Nikhil's sake, I'm going to say a UP Warriors and Delhi Capitals final. Then Baki aap dekh lo.
I just want to say one thing. If Meg Lanning is losing another final, I think we should sponsor her lifelong, because this is so harsh on anybody, that if she's making a fourth final and this time she loses to the team that she led to the final three times, oh my, I don't think I'm ready for that universe. But not wanting to distract, but I want you to guess my biggest pain point in the WPL. It's always been that. Can you guess the number of drop catches this season?
Oh, you mean like in general, Nikhil, like totally in the season?
Totally, totally. Yeah. Just take a
I
number of guess in terms of how many drop catches we've seen.
I feel we're at least looking at a number like 15 to 20K range. Mein. I hope it's not more than that.
अच्छा, 15 to 20 तो दो जन का total है. Two teams have dropped 9 each.
Oh my God.
The number is
Seriously?
43. 43 in 15 games. It stings me like the ball is coming to me like, "Bhai, this is too big a number." 42, as you said, again, some of them may be subjective there, but very, very, it's the one area where that's my only complaint from WPL, that we'll have to find a way to better this, because this is not, there is a T20 World Cup coming up, and I know, and thank you so much, Talia Megra, for catching thin air, and for Ian Bishop to say that in the final. But I would not want a drop catch to ruin a World Cup for Smriti, Herman, or anybody else. So please just be very mindful. I hope Amul stays away from WPL sponsorship for long as possible, because these butterfingers are not for the tournament. I mean, you're almost seeing three drop catches every game. That is just too many for me. Too many.
I'm so glad, Nikhil, you brought this point up because I think one of the themes of this match itself, right, for RCB was the
Yeah,
fact that their fielding was just bizarre, right? I mean, like, it just wasn't making sense at one point. You could see that panic also, sort of set in, right? Again, to add
yeah,
context to this, if you just have a look at RCB's bowling card, 7 bowlers were used. Radha
yeah.
Yadav, picked up a wicket besides Sayali Satghare. Again, somewhere did you think that that panic button was pressed like big time? And the changes were coming in like fast, with the bowling changes happening, fielding positions and placements being changed here and there, and a little bit on Smriti's captaincy as well in that regard.
I think see that is also something that I feel happens when you are qualified, where you kind of a bit relaxed that let me just try this out. Let me just see how it's working, because just a game prior to this, I posted a scorecard of Mumbai having Nicola Carey, Nat Sivabrand, and Samskriti Gupta bowling 1 over. Shabnam Ismail has bowled 4. Amanjot has bowled 3. And Vaishnavi Sharma is bowling her 4th. That is as random as a cricket scorecard can ever look to you, because you understand teams, and that I think is something that I'm still coming to terms with, that I feel cricket has become a lot more today. You know, what is working today? Let's just do that. Very few teams are looking at, again, the problem that I had with RCB not giving Prema an over or two. Supposing some, now again, I'm not saying somebody will get injured. Suppose somebody gets injured and you have to get Prema into the setup, but she's not bowled, and then you will feel that game we needlessly bowled out a couple of bowlers. We knew we were winning. You could have simply bowled Prema a couple of overs, and you could have seen how she's going. But again, it's something that again result may lead to that process. So I would not want to be too harsh on Smriti. I think they were just happy to try. Otherwise, no way Nadine is bowling just 1 over. She's been someone who's broken partnerships for them in the past. So I think they were just trying to front load as much as it, and whatever was working. And for all you know, Lauren Bell should have had the wicket. But for Sayali to again drop that catch. Again, my problem is not with the tough ones. See, I would side with Gautami where it was a tougher chance. Sayali wala catch wasn't that tough. You have to take those. So I feel that is somewhere I hope, because it's a conversation we've been having since 4 years now. And we've had a lot of discussions with the Team India coach and players as well, where fielding is something that's been highlighted. Radha Yadav has been taking some stunners in the same WPL. But we also have 40 plus catches being dropped. So hopefully that is something they'll take care of.
Yeah, definitely. Because most of these teams, right, they have good fielders. It's just probably that they're not used to
Yeah.
playing under the lights, or it's not as bad as it seems. But then clearly, the number is not ensuring that a lot of them
Helping the
sleep
cause.
peacefully in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But even Nikhil, as we reach the end of this discussion too, right? I mean, RCB's 5 match winning streak, finally ended. Delhi won, right, with 26 balls to spare. And you could say, right, it was not one of those crappy wins. It felt like a clinical
Yeah.
win, right? They got a lot of things right, which worked out well. But do you think, like, just heading into the business end of the tournament as well, RCB plays a match, tomorrow versus Mumbai
Yeah.
Indians.
Mumbai.
Delhi Capitals too has, a couple of games left where they can sort of ensure and get those points. Like, how do you think the rest of the league is shaping up based on this outcome?
Now I want everybody to be tied at the same point at the end of the league stage, because well, what else we here for? Let's have some chaos. RCB have already qualified. I foresee them playing the final because I think they deserve that. Uh, Smriti deserves it more than anybody else, because I think she's led again comparatively much better to her counterparts. I'm more than happy for her, because we can see her being the next leader in charge for India. So I think in that sense, it could be a very good tick for her to win her second title. That would be a good tick. So that and the other three teams, I think they'll all make the other four teams. They'll all make mistakes. Now it's up to the others to catch up. Like, oh, Mumbai is trying new opening combination, catch them today. And then Mumbai be like, oh, today UP is doing this, catch them. And then UP should go and catch Gigi. Oh, today no divine, sorry, thank you. So I want everybody to beat each other, and then everybody be tied, and then let that one misfielding, that one boundary extra, that 1 6 count in the NRR, and then let that be the difference, because let's ask for chaos if they want chaos, if chaos is what they like.
Spoken like a true Big Boss fan there, Nikhil. And
No, sorry.
I think fans too, right? We wouldn't really complain. I think RCB fans would be very happy with
Yeah.
this answer as long as they're
Nah,
sitting atop
cute.
there with
Correct.
no concerns, and the rest of the teams are just fighting it out there. Nothing like it. And Avinash also is very cheekily just asking us, trophy share karwa do na. Like, why simply have RCB go to the final and win? Like, trophy, have it shared across all the four teams.
Uh,
Let's have a new winner, no?
ठीक है. हाँ, एक तो अविनाश भाई अपन ये करते हैं. I have no problem. Let's share the trophy with Meng Lanning and Jemmy. I'm cool. Let DC also feel तीन final हम जीते, चौथा we don't deserve to lose. Do Meng Lanning should just be, I lost 3 finals as captain. Give me the trophy. So take the trophy. Must share it. I have no problem.
I
As
mean, if
long as
someone
new
is
winner, I am fine.
if someone really tunes into a conversation now, they'll be like, what are these guys talking about? Like 55 minutes into an RCB Delhi stream, they're talking about, a trophy being shared.
Sharing a trophy.
But yeah, I know. And Avinash obviously saying, it has to be a shared trophy with Meg Lanning and Gardner. A UP Warriors versus Gujarat Giants final. Again, none of us are complaining, but then
चलेगा.
again, yeah.
New winner. As long as
Yeah.
new winner FC, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, no complaints in that regard. But almost as we reach the end of our discussion again, Nikhil, do you have any last and final thoughts? The next match we will be discussing is, RCB taking on Mumbai, and Delhi will also, be playing Gujarat on Tuesday. So, any
Yeah.
thoughts in this regard? Like a quick preview for both these matches?
I just hope Amila Kerr plays. I have never thought in my life two things have happened. Deepti not bowled out and Mumbai dropping Amila Kerr. She's one of their best performers with the ball, and she finally came good with the bat at her natural. I know she's been opening for a domestic side and all of that, but yes, she got runs, good 40 odd, batting down the order. Just get her in. And I understand the novelty with Shamim Ismail. Then drop Matthews or drop Nicola Carey. There is no way out. You don't have your Indian injured where you can just write to the governing council that we need the fifth overseas. It cannot happen. It is done. No, you should not have picked the extra all-rounder there. So I think they will have to take the bite. They'll have to bite the bullet there because Haley Matthews also hasn't come into her own. Usually when Mumbai wins, she's the central fugal force. Yes, Nat she will always score runs, but the wickets often come from Haley Matthews, whether it is at the back end or right up top. So I feel Matthews is that big puzzle that they have to solve, and they'll have to take the call in terms of versus RCB. How do they feel confident about Shabnam Ismail versus Grace Harris and Smriti at the other end? Because if you don't do that and you put Nicola Carey up top, bro, that is not helping. So then take a call, just be a bit more. But then at the other end, I'm happy to let Mumbai do mistakes. It's okay. It's good to see them show that they are also human. So I think that is the biggest call, in my opinion. Hopefully, Amila Kaur will play because we've seen spin play so much role in terms of low bounce Vadodara wicket. So I feel that is what should happen. But there is a role for Ismail to play as well. So I'm very keen to see who are the 4 overseas they go with. RCB will be like, take a one-off game, no one-off loss, no problem. Let's just catch well, do the basics well. I think they will be fine. The other game is very, very important for GG to have won a game. They would want to back it up with a win. But if they win, that then really doesn't make Delhi feel nice. So I think it is good. Maybe one team might be knocked out by the time we discuss the next one, but it is what it is. We can't do much about it.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, it's fair to say again, right? We are ending, going towards a very exciting end of this WPL where a lot of permutations and combinations are possible. And hopefully the league continues to deliver. But yeah, folks, that pretty much does conclude our discussion as well. Nikhil, first things first, thank you so much for, doing this stream. It was really fun. We are again, very honored to have you join us for probably the next couple of days as well on our stream. So to all our viewers who absolutely love Nikhil, please do join and share your live chat. Your comments in the live chat. We will be more than happy to take it up. And to all the viewers who joined in, keep these comments, coming in. We will continue doing the WPL morning show, hopefully not in the evening, but in the morning itself where it's supposed to be. And, keep the conversation about this league going. But yeah, folks, for now, that's all. Thank you so much. Cheers. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.